Yes. Good afternoon. I welcome you all to our first study circle meeting. This is our tradition to call the MSTT members and to inaugurate the study circle meeting. Apart from this, we are felicitating our senior member, Satkar Maharshi, PC Joshi Sahib, for completing his 61 years of seamless service from Bombay City Tax Act to the GST. I hand over the mic to my president. Yes. Before that, I call on the dais Mane Sahib, PC Joshi Sahib, Sujata Madam. Yes, yeah, escorted. Yes, I understood that. Jatin bhai, please escort them. Yes. 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 I will request all the dignitaries on the dais to come for the lighting of the lamp and inaugurate this our first study circle meeting. President. Yes. Yes, yes. First, we are inaugurating this in the official hand of the MSTT President, C. Mane Sahib. Joshi Sahib. Sujata Madam. Request President, Chairman in our committee, Dinesh Kamble. Ashwin Acharya ji. And request convener Sunil Joshi ji. Don't. Yes. Office bear na bolo na. Mahesh and all office bear, please gather. Mahesh and Parth. I request our president to give the speech, welcome speech on this occasion. Praveen Shinde ji.
Good afternoon, friends. Respected President, Mane sir, respected past president PC Joshi sahib, respected tribunal president MSTT bar president Ashwin Acharya ji, today's speaker Sujata Rangnekar, my office bearers, all seniors and friends. It's our privilege. Today we have the chief guest, Honorable President, Maharashtra State Tax Tribunal, Shri Suhas Mane sir, for inaugurating first study circle meeting. Today's subject is highlights on 50th GST Council meeting. For that, we have a learned speaker, CA Sujata Rangnekar madam. She will going to enlighten us on this subject. This is our tradition that we have called President and members of Maharashtra Sales Tax Tribunal for inaugurating the study circle meeting. I thank on behalf of GSTPAM members for accepting our invitation for today's meeting. Thank Honorable Suhas Mane sir for coming here for inauguration this first study circle meeting. Today's function is felicitation of our past president, PC Joshi sahib. A few days back, our Bombay bar has felicitated PC Joshi sir. That day, my installation party was there. We could not attend this function. सर, आपके बारे में मैं बोलना इतना मेरा एक्सपीरियंस कम है, लेकिन आपने जो ये एसोसिएशन के लिए दिया है जोशी साहब, आप बीइंग पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट, यू ऑलवेज with all the activities of the GSTPAM, you always blessing us, support us. These topics come from our past president, Patkar Sahib. He called me immediately. See, our bar, Bombay bar has felicitated PC Joshi sir. Why our association not doing this? That time I call immediately Ashwin Acharya sir, and we organized this program for felicitation of our senior advocate PC Joshi sir. सर, मैं उम्मीद करता हूं ये आपका जो 61 इयर्स का जो प्रैक्टिस हुआ है, मेरा बॉर्न भी नहीं हुआ था, आपका जो आप 73-74 में ये एसोसिएशन के प्रेसिडेंट थे, बाद में ट्राइब्यूनल बार के भी आप प्रेसिडेंट हो चुके हो, आप AFTP के नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट भी हो चुके हो. तो सर, आपको मैं सैल्यूट करता हूं तहे दिल से. माने साहेब, मी तुम्हाला GSTPAM बद्दल सांगतोय. आम्ही GSTPAM च्या बऱ्याचशा ऍक्टिव्हिटी आम्ही करत असतो. स्टडी सर्कल मीटिंग असो, आजपासून आमचे प्रोग्राम चालू झाले, म्हणजे या वर्षभरातले. इंटेन्सिव्ह स्टडी कोर्स असतो, कोचिंग क्लास असतो. कोचिंग क्लास या वर्षी आम्ही ठरवलं आहे की 4 लँग्वेज मध्ये, 3 लँग्वेज मध्ये करायचं. मराठी, इंग्लिश, हिंदी, मराठी, इंग्लिश, गुजराती, इंग्लिश रेग्युलर आपला, आणि नंतर एक इन्कम टॅक्स वरती पण आपण कोचिंग क्लास करतोय. असे 5 कोचिंग क्लास आपण करतोय. नंतर आपण मुंबईभरामध्ये सेमिनार, आउट स्टेशन मध्ये पण सेमिनार घेतो. प्रत्येक डिस्ट्रिक्ट मध्ये जाऊन आपण आपले मुंबईचे सगळे स्पीकर जाऊन तिथे सेमिनार घेतो. त्याच्यानंतर आपलं मंथली मॅगझिन असतं, रिव्ह्यू जीएसटीचं मंथली मॅगझिन असतं, तेही आपण 25 तारखेला आउट करतो. त्याचे आमचे एडिटर आहेत मयूर पारेख आणि दिनेश तांबडे, जॉईंट असोसिएट एडिटर आहेत. आणि आम्ही प्रत्येक महिन्याच्या 10 तारखेला आम्ही न्यूज बुलेटिन काढतो आणि तेही प्रत्येक महिन्याच्या 10 तारखेला येतं. त्याच्यानंतर आमची वेबसाईट आहे www.gstpam.org. यावरती पण आम्ही सगळे अपडेट्स देत असतो. काही नोटिफिकेशन येतात, जजमेंट्स येतात, ते आम्ही त्याच्यावर टाकत असतो. प्रोग्राम्स आमचे जे फ्युचर्स प्रोग्राम असतात, पास्ट इव्हेंट असतात, त्याची आम्ही त्याच्यावर नोंदणी करत असतो. आणि आजचा जो सब्जेक्ट आहे 50th जीएसटी काउन्सिल मीटिंगच्या हायलाइटच्या संदर्भात मी खरोखरच सुजाता मॅडम यांना धन्यवाद देतो की त्यांनी अगदी थोड्या वेळात त्याचं प्रिपरेशन करून आज ते आपल्याला मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत. सुजाता मॅडम त्यांनाही मी धन्यवाद देतो आणि इथेच थांबतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
Thank you, President sir. I request the Bar President Ashwin Acharya to say a few words.
Honorable respected Chief Guest S.V. Mane Sahab, our senior most member Sri P.C. Joshi Sahab, my co-host and President of GSTPAM Sri Praveen Sindhe ji, Vinod Maske ji, the Secretary of GSTPAM, other honorable members present of Master Sales Tribunal, other past president and friends. Well, friends, sometimes it's a moot question whether the quality is a coincidence or it is a result of a hard work. Whether you say success is just incidental or is a result of a hard work. So many times this we wonder what could be the ingredient of success. Whether just academic knowledge is sufficient to gain from the professional respect. मेरे technical knowledge, मेरे subject knowledge is sufficient, or something else is required. For example, how you are helping your fellow brothers, how you are helping the community, how you are helping the client, downtrodden persons, how you are helping, that is also counted. So there are many points, many issues are there. We read in the book that you should do like this, you should do like this. But when we see a person, a living legend, then it really inspires us. And today, I am very glad to say that a person, Sri P.C. Joshi, is among us, and we can learn a lot from him. And that is the reason we have decided to felicitate him in today's function. So that we'll get inspiration and enthusiasm from him. With this, I welcome you all members for remaining present, and thanks all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Acharya Sahib. I request Sri Prem Mehtaji to introduce our chief guest, S.V. Mane Sahib. Yes. I will be brief, sir. I have the pleasant task of introducing the president of our tribunal, S.V. Mane Sahib. Mane Sahib was born in 1961 and he finished his schooling and college at Solapur. He is a law an advocate, and he finished his law at the ILS Law College at Pune. Thereafter, as one amongst us, he practiced as an advocate for a period of 7 years before he joined the judiciary. And friends, there are a couple of interesting and I would say interesting points in his career as part of the judiciary which we need to note. In the year 2002, when he was a chief judicial magistrate at Pune, he undertook a hearing by video conference, the first of its kind in Maharashtra. In fact, now the High Court and Supreme Court have gone into video conferencing in 2020 only. He was an ad hoc district judge at Goa. He was a chief member of the Motor Claims Tribunal at Pune. And here again, there was a first to his name. He organized camps to enable disabled persons to get the disability certificates, which enabled them to get certain claims. He was thereafter the principal district and sessions judge at Gondia, and he retired from there in April of 2021. Immediately thereafter, in a few months, he joined us, our tribunal, as the president. And he's, of course, been with us
heading our tribunals in the last 2 years. Friends, I request you to please welcome them.
I request our President Praveen Shinde and the Bar President Ashwin Acharji to offer a memento and flower bouquet to our Chief Guest Mane sir. बाद में माफी चाहिए।
I request chairman of this committee, Dinesh Tamre, to come for order and certificate, manager, which all in.
I also recognize the member of the MSTP members. I also recognize the members present, Sri Vivek V. Vindwas sir, Sri Pramod Tatare sir, Sri Pradeep Ji Kadu, Sri Vajnath D. Kamtewad, Sri Grish D. Natgoda sahib. अभी देना immediately? अच्छा अभी देते? Yes, yes. I request Vindwas sahib to come forward and President to offer a moment, flower. Yes. Yes. I request Mesh Mathurkar to come forward to offer a memento to Pramod Ji Tatare sahib. Path Badega, please offer a memento to Kadu sahib. Parin sir, please offer a flower bouquet to Vajnath Kamtewad sir. Pushlani sir, please offer a flower bouquet to our Natgoda side. Now we are turning to our second program, that is a felicitation program of the PC Joshi sahib, and the very pleasant task is given to me. Sir, I remember when I was first convener of this, my tenure, 15-16, I was introducing late Sri PV Surte sahib. उसके बाद इतने बड़े हस्ती का मैं बायोडाटा पढ़ रहा हूँ सर. So it's a prize moment for me also. Sri PC Joshi, he has been the president of Cell Tax Practitioner Association, known as GSTPAM, Cell Tax Bar Association, All India Federation of Tax Practitioner, and the Chamber of Income Tax Consultant. He has also been national president of Giant International Federation. Presently, he is a deputy world chairman and trustee of its charitable trust. He was honored as Man of the Millennium at the National Convention of the All India Federation of Tax Practitioners. In May 2004, he was invited by the Law Society of England and Wales as a speaker on VAT subject. In November 2005, he represented IFTP at the international conference at Manila, Philippines, whereat he was honored by the international known journal Newsweek by publishing his photograph on the front coverage of the special edition covering the proceeding of the Manila conference. In 2007, he addressed the international conference at Washington and New York, USA. Thereafter, he visited Singapore, Thailand, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Indonesia for similar conferences. He has been an editor of the Sales Tax Review and Income Tax Review. He has been contributed a number of papers on sales tax and delivered the lectures on sales tax all over India and acted as a chairman of technical session at various conference seminar on sales tax. His active contribution towards the development of law was well recognized by the Union State Finance Minister, Dr. Bhagwat Kishanrao Karad at Pune in 2021 and 17 December 2020 at Jaipur by the Supreme Court Justice A.K. Rastogi and Rajasthan High Court Judge Hon'ble Srivastava in All India Conference of Tax Professionals. Recently, the Bombay Bar Association, the first association formed in 1862 in British India, honored him for completing 61 years of advocacy at the Bar of Bombay High Court. Please welcome Mr. Sujata Loud of I request our Presidents Shinde and Ashwin Acharya ji to offer a moment or two. Acha, Mane Sahib also, yes. Yes, Mane Sahib, yes. Yes. Please.
Yes, 1 year. Yes, 62. Oh, 161. Don't worry. You will 65. I bless you.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, sir. You want me to retire? No, no.
Please give them the standing ovation. Yes, yes. I request senior members, say Lunav sir, to say a few words on this occasion. Lunav sir. Yes, sir. आपकी कंफर्टेबल है तो माइक दे दो. हाँ, माइक दे दो आपको वहां से. माइक दे. ठीक है, ठीक है. नहीं नहीं मालूम यहाँ से आइए सर. रिकॉग्नाइज कर दो. More than 150.
President of the association and President of the Bar Association. Today, Chief Guest, our worthy Chairman of the Hon'ble Maharashtra Sales Tax Tribunal. Today's Karamveer Yogi, Sri P.C. Joshi, and other honorable member of the tribunal, my seniors in the profession and friends. it gives me immense pleasure to participate myself in the felicitation program of Sri P.C. Joshi, who has practiced for the 61 year, but he has devoted, I will say, not any less than 61 years to the profession. And that is why today's felicitation program is justified in his contribution to not only this association, even bar as well as federation. Friend, I will say on this occasion that Mr. P.C. Joshi and late Sri N.M. Raka, two were the persons who have flourished the federation throughout India. And he was very much instrument for all the activities of the federation. Being the past treasurer of All India Federation, not only for 2 years or 3 years, but 14 years I was treasurer, where I have found him very nice for all the things, whatever is to be executed by the federation. And today the federation is All India famous body, where he was the person concerned as a president and always president later on also, practically. My friends, I need not to narrate his contribution to the association, but I will say definitely that he is a very helping nature person who has helped all the members either of the association or the federation in his capacity as a learned lawyer. Friends, in this occasion, whatever association has thought it proper, it's really, he is a deserving person to whom we should have felicitated. And now I see today he is really felicitated. I wish him all the best and remaining here and a nice journey towards his goal. He has already achieved the goal, but even though I wish him good health and cheerful mood henceforward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. I request dear Joshi sir to say a few words.
Good afternoon to everybody. Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I will not take more than 5 minutes to recognize the contribution of Mr. P.C. Joshi. Nationally, what he has done, we know, but internationally, I would like to only bring to your notice 2 instances where 10 years back, I had taken his interview, and from that interview, I will just read out 2 questions. They will enlighten every of us. Question number 3, my question was, against the backdrop of VAT introduction way back in 2002, you were the first advocate to be invited in May 2004 by the Law Associate Society of England and Wales to deliver a talk on VAT. Indeed, it was a great honor to an Indian advocate, and thereafter you participated in the international conference held at Paris, Lausanne, Frankfurt, and Mauritius. Please briefly elaborate what you spoke on the subject of VAT and its global future. Additionally, what experience and impression you gathered from these international conferences? This was the question, and the answer even is, when I received the invitation from the Law Society of England and Wales, I went to London about 10 days in advance to study the then prevailing VAT system in Europe Union countries before I delivered my lecture on EU VAT. In the presence of several participants from UK, USA, Germany, and France, all of them acclaimed my speech as if I was in practice in London. The conference at Mauritius was an international one organized by the Giants Group of Mauritius, whereat I spoke on the management of finance vis-a-vis undertaking the project beneficial to the society at large. Attending the international conferences at various places have widened my horizon and have inculcated my habit of reading the provisions in a greater details again and again. The conferences at various countries have also given me a chance of establishing the bond of friendship with my counterpart thereat. Indeed, this type of achievement we must always remember. And just for the information of readers, I will say 10 years back, I had taken this interview and his picture is appearing in an international magazine, which also we had printed in the review. Those who are interested, this review is available in our library. Now, one more question and I will end. Question number 4. In November 2005, you were represented at AFTP at the International Conference at Manila, Philippines, whereat you were honored by the internationally known journal Newsweek, where I have shown you the picture, Newsweek, by publishing your photograph on the front cover page of special edition covering the proceedings of the Manila Conference. Obviously, this was a landmark honor by any yardstick received by an Indian tax advocate for the first time. Please briefly elaborate what subject you had chosen for your presentation in the state conference. The reply was, at Manila, I spoke about the provisions of input tax credit, which we are now day in and day out talking. Input tax credit that is set off for the taxes paid and while effecting the purchases used in the manufacture of other goods. There also the discussion revolved around the situation wherein the vendors failed to pay the amount taxes collected as tax into government treasury. So now this input has become worldwide phenomena. Even in the new GST also we have that provision. We earlier had under GST also, and we are fighting. That's the end. That's what I want to say. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, sir. I request Patkar sir to come on that.
जोशी साहेब, आपला या सत्कार करायला या दोन्ही संस्थांना उशीर झाला त्याबद्दल आधी मी तुमची क्षमा मागतो. का हा काय होतं, तुमच्या कृतीमुळे आमच्या ते लक्षात राहत नाही. ते रोज सकाळी ट्रायब्युनल बार मध्ये त्यांचे केस बार मध्ये आम्ही दोघेच असतो, पीसी जोशी आणि मी. त्यांची केस असली की ते असते. मी त्याला कितीतरी वेळा सांगितलं की तुमची केस होते की नाही मला आधी विचारा. मग तिथे बेंच बसला नाही की ते मला अरे क्या है हे पाठकर. पण सांगायचं याच्यात असं आहे की या वयात सुद्धा तरी कधी एक तारीख असली तर ते चुकवत नाही, देतात, तिथे बसतात, नसेल तर परत जातात. त्याच्यामुळे तुमचं वय आमच्या लक्षात राहत नाही, तर तुमच्या प्रॅक्टिस वय आम्हाला काय लक्षात राहणार. नेहमी आपण लोकांना अशी काही शतायुषी भाऊ, आम्ही म्हणतो तुमची प्रॅक्टिस शतायुषी हो.
Thank you, sir. Civil Shankar sir, please.
Dignitaries on the dais. Friends, it so happened that Bombay Bar Association was celebrating the function of felicitating the practitioners or advocates who have completed 60 years and more of the practice. And me and Patkar thought that we should join that, but it was already full. That was the limited seat arrangement. And then Patkar suggested that let us go to his office in the evening and give him bouquet. And at that time I thought that no, why we should
do their latest date in the association. So everybody will be present. That is what the occasion has today arisen. And it's a really great moment. There are very few who will be practicing so dedicated, and that also in the taxation field, and that also with full vigor, as Patkar already said, on every date at that time you will get him. So this is how one should, that is something we should take from him also, that we should be very punctual about our duty as an advocate and to our client. And another thing which you are always taught, that don't go by case laws and this and that every time. You read your provision on your own for 1 knot, 2 knot, 3 knot, 10 times. You will get new ideas, something new will come up. So this is how the experience speaks, and you have to take guidance from him. Today he has completed not 61, but actually he has completed more than 64 years. And we are lucky to have his guidance. We will also wish to remain further guidance for us for all the time to come. And wish him all the healthy. And he's very, of course, very satisfied person. One time I asked him, sir, abhi aap daily to tribunal nahi hote, so what will be, you will be at home? No, bole mere ko. And what you do there, sir? He's reading every article, every GST material today also. So this is how one is really remain engaged in the profession. That is right. And we wish him all the best. And we will enjoy his company for a long time to come. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I request Nikita madam.
Honorable President, sir, honorable members, dignitaries on the dais, seniors. Speaking about PC Joshi as my uncle will not be good, because I'm here to speak of PC Joshi as a lawyer. And my initial life, I mean, PC Joshi and BC Joshi and we all were together. And BC, my daddy used to sit in a different room and we were together. And whatever I learned in the beginning, I learned from him. Maintaining a diary, Mr. BC Joshi was keeping, he was also keeping, I also learned. But let me tell you, his diary is like a Gita. I always tell him, PC, I mean, I call him Maiba. Uncle, you please give from your Gita this citation, because I remember it is this member who had argued, this was a judge who has argued, but I could not place. I mean, that happened very recently, and he immediately got the details from his Gita. So his Gita is very important. Let me tell you, he maintains it religiously today also, and that is most important. I mean, he has the interest in the law today also. That is something I think we all must keep that interest, to keep ourselves not only update, but live in the life also. Best of luck, Maiba. All the best to you. Thank you. Keep blessing us. Keep blessing us.
Okay, sir.
I may be excused, I'm taking just 1 minute time. On this occasion, I feel to recollect the name of Sharad Gaitonde, our senior-most brother by age at this time. He had the same qualities which Prafulbhai had, and he used to come also 10 a.m. in the library. Sometimes it just happened myself, Prafulbhai and Sharad Gaitonde sir used to tell exactly 10 o'clock. That is what I wanted to say. The devotion is in the blood of the members of the Tribunal Bar Association or Sales Tax Bar Association. That is all. That is, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request our VP Mahesh Matwalkar to say a few words.
Respected dais, seniors in the profession, past presidents, on behalf of GSTPAM, I am here. 61 years in practice requires dedication, commitment towards taxation in particular. Actually, 60 years, 61 years, sales tax, then VAT, then GST, everything he has adapted. We have witnessed in various conferences and seminars his commitment and his involvement, fully involvement in GSTPAM. Sir, we are really grateful to you. याला प्रचंड तपश्चर्या लागते एवढं टॅक्सेशन मध्ये काम करायचं. Good command over subject, maintaining good relationships with not only the officials but the staff and members together, remaining fit and young ever, sir. And on behalf of GSTPM, we wish you a happy life and we wish you a healthy life. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Respected President, honorable members, our President of GSTPM and our bar and other dignitaries. If you ask about PC Joshi Saab, what's experienced by me, that I will highlight in half minute. During my tenure as a secretary, vice president and president, we have filed some more than 5 to 6 petitions before Honorable High Court for appointment of judges and increasing their emoluments and widely throughout Maharashtra that the judges facilities to be granted. So he always tells me, you prepare the draft, come to me, I will correct it. And every time he used to accompany with me to the High Court for mentioning for every hearing. Even we used to go to the guardian judges cabin. Always he used to accompany me along with the Surte Saab. And even the judges, they used to call all three people, the Surte Saab and PC Joshi Saab and myself. So his contributions is tremendous. A simple word I will tell. I will not take much more of time because seminar is there. PC Joshi के साहब के बारे में अगर कहना है, मैं अकेले ही चला था जानवे मंजिले मगर, मैं अकेले ही चला था जानवे मंजिले मगर, लोग आते गए कारवा बढ़ते गए. Thank you.
Honorable President, Maharashtra State Tribunal, President of the Association, other dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, the members of the tribunal also, brothers and sisters. I feel very proud today that Mr. PC Joshi is getting celebrated for his completing 61 years in his practice, 64 years in his practice. I feel that this is a right occasion which the members have thought from both the associations that one should felicitate such persons who is dedicated to his life as well as to his practice. Now, this is a lifetime achievement for him and he will definitely recollect and never forget that this association, because he is like a fatherly person to this association. And I take this opportunity that he should live as long as he can, keep his health very fit and with vigor, and continue to practice and guide us in future as well. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Collector sir, to say.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. PC Joshi સાહેબ ગુજરાતીમાં કહું તો કેવું લાગે? સાહેબ 60 વર્ષથી વધારે કામ કરવું એ itself એક અચીવમેન્ટ છે. 60 વર્ષે માણસ રિટાયરમેન્ટની વાતો કરે, અહીંયા માણસ 60 વર્ષ કામ કરી અને હજુ અમારી સાથે ઊભા છે. ઊભા છે નહીં, મારા ખભેથી ઉપર ઊભા છે. ખભે ખભા મળવાની તો એક મારી મહેચ્છા છે, પણ એ નહીં મળી શકે એમાં જ મને આનંદ છે. What I said is, one would want to work shoulder to shoulder, but he is much above my shoulder, and it is my endeavor, my mahechcha, to try and match his shoulders, but it is not going to happen. I wish him all the very best and look forward for his guidance forever. This association is blessed both the association is blessed, and there are several associations which has got the wisdom, his knowledge. They have been benefited by his wisdom and knowledge. And to that extent, one would always say that we are blessed by your blessing. Thank you.
I request Satkar Maharshi, PC Joshi Sahib, to say a few words on this occasion.
Honorable President of the Tribunal, Mane Sahib, honorable members of the Tribunal, presidents of both the associations, my dear brothers and sisters. I've been given 5 minutes. Now, if I have to unfold the God-given computer and recall what transpired during last 6 or 7 years, 7 decades, it's difficult for me to say, but I will refer to some of the instances which affected my life and progress. When I started to practice as a sales tax practitioner and income tax practitioner, I was not law graduate that time. I was enrolled in 1962. Before that, I was practicing as sales tax and income tax practitioner. During those days, the sales tax assessments were being done by virtual examination of each transaction by the inspector. And inspector used to write his report. And that after that report, the sales tax officer, during those days, the assessments were done by sales tax officers. Sales tax officer used to give us a hearing. And then at that time, we would know what is the deficiency in the record of the assessee. Because the inspector never used to show us the report. But then at one time, I remember, one of the officers referred to me certain adverse remarks. That was absolutely erroneous remark. I could not tolerate that. I shouted. I was a young boy, I shouted at him. Your inspector should have told me. I would have clarified it. And believe me, the sales tax officer also accepted my version of the case, and he struck down the adverse report of the inspector. So, friends, my only advice to young people is, as Mr. Thakkar has rightly said, I've been always repeating that never go by case law, never follow what X says or Y says. Apply your mind to the section itself, to the rule itself. And I've been always saying, propagating that the God-given computer will give you different answers to the same question at different times. This is what I have experienced. One more case I will tell you. Virtually the case was, I was arguing the case before Justice Madan. And virtually at the end of the day, my turn came. For about 10 minutes, I argued. And Justice Madan was against me. Then overnight, I said, how is it that I have failed? Where have I failed? I could not convince a judge. So next day morning, I entirely changed my arguments. The first set of arguments was not accepted, but let me tell you, the changed arguments which I got overnight, thought it, and then ultimately Justice Madan also appreciated that. And this, Joshi, yesterday I was against you, but today I'm in favor. So this is why I have been practicing this, that never go by what initially the judges say, because judges also hear with open mind. Let me tell you, my experience is that all judges, may it be a tribunal judge or maybe a high court judge, but they hear you with open mind. And that's up to judiciary. That's my salute to judiciary, all judiciary. That reminds me a case of a works contract. During those days, the works contract, was coming up early. I filed a writ petition because the demand was tax on the entire works contract. And writ petition came before senior Dharmadhikari, not the present one, whose father. It came up before him. So I explained that the tax is on sale or purchase of goods. Works contract involves not only the material, but also labor, but also the profit, everything. So believe me, the judge, I got the immediate relief that the tax will be paid on 50% of the works contract. And at that time, friends, one more thing. Palkhiwala's case was just behind me, next to my case. And being a senior, I thought, let him, he should get precedence. So I told him, you may take your case first. I'm too young to worry. He said, Joshi, no, don't worry. I'm behind you. Go ahead. So this sort of encouragement which we receive from all seniors, including the judge, that reminds me a matter before Justice Rangnekar, then President of the Maharashtra District Tribunal. My first case was a matter where the order was passed without granting any opportunity. You know, that was the first case. I didn't know how to argue. So I had noted down everything what I will speak. Then, to my surprise, before I start my arguments, Mr. M.M. Nadkarni, who was the government representative then, got up and said, sir, we are conceding. So that was my first case. I was so happy that I had not to argue and the case was won. The second case was where the opponent was Mr. P.M. Deshpande. You know, he used to have a habit of citing all case laws on the subject. And Justice Rangnekar said, Joshi, you need not worry. You say what you want to say. And when citation comes, Mr. P.M. Deshpande will give you all citation, whether it is for or against. So these are all instances which comes to my mind. Well, I'm happy to see the younger generation, but it is said that the person who sees fourth generation is really a lucky man. I happen to be a lucky man. I have seen my fourth generation. And in my practice also, in a profession also, I have seen a lot of young people coming up. Dinesh is the one of them. And I'm sure the association will really take the flag of association higher and higher. But before that, one more thing, it struck me. When I became the president of the association, my dream was to arrange all India conference. During those days, there was no gadgets like mobile. We had trunk call and we had cyclostally, hand cyclostally. The association did not have its own office. Association was working with the small cabin belonging to our past president C.B. Shah at Mota Market. The sales tax department was also having hired furniture. They were not having their own furniture also. Tables and cupboards, on the top it is written so and so company, so and so company. So those were the days. But when I went to invite the Justice Madhukar, Madhukar Rao Chaudhary, the finance minister, and Antule, A.R. Antule was the law minister. A.R. Antule asked me, Joshi, you are saying second All India conference. When was the first? I said a decade back. Mr. C.N. Sanghvi had first All India conference. Mine was the second. So A.R. Antule taunted me. Okay, so you people take 10 years to arrange an All India conference. I said, that's my fortune. I can't help it. But he came and he placed this. So, friends, I would conclude by saying that there is no shortcut for a hard work. You must continue to do hard work. As Nikita and C.B. Thakur said, today, even also today, though I am not full-fledged practicing GST, but I am well aware about the developments of GST. Though I started with Bombay Sales Tax Act 1946, I practiced with 1946, then Ordinance 1952, then 1953, 1959, VAT and GST. These are all summarizing of all my practice. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable guidance. It's really encouraging.
I clarified the confusion created by Mr. Thakur. Why 64 and 61? I have already clarified. You know, when you don't have a case, the advocate duty is to make it such a complex that the judge will not understand. Thank you.
I request today's chief guest, Sri S.P. Mane sir, to give his speech. Mane sir.
Honorable Senior Counsel, P.C. Joshi sir, Presidents of GSTPAM and Bar Association, all the members of the tribunal, senior advocates practicing in tax. It is my pleasure to felicitate such a big personality who has practiced for 61 years. My age is not 61 years when he appeared before me. I was less than 60 years when he appeared before me for the first time in 2021. So during his lifetime, he has achieved many things. He has helped the association. He has courage to say that if you have no case, you should concede or confuse. The various practices of the advocacy are being used by him to get results in his favor or in the appeals. But we should remember him as a guidance for the entire association, the institution, and the tax practitioners, as well as the members of the tribunal and the president, the income tax department authorities, the sales tax department authorities, before whom he has practiced for more than 6 decades. His long-standing experience is always helpful to the association. You are very much blessed by his presence and guidance. I wish on behalf of the tribunal as well as the members of the tribunal and all the associations which invited me as a chief guest, that he should have a long, happy and healthy life ahead. He should guide the association and the tax practitioners, the institutions like the tribunal, till the last of his breath, and bless everybody, enrich all the personalities and the institutions by his knowledge and experience. Thank you for calling me at this occasion. I'm just having 60 years. He has practiced 61 years. This is a gap of around 60 years. When I was not born, he started practice in 1959. Though it is said 61 years, he was practicing as in 59 as a sales tax practitioner. He became advocate in 1962. Therefore, it is said that he has practiced for 61 years. Anyhow, he is very much senior. He has achieved many awards. He has taken the association to the international level and has done a great for the association as well as the institutions wherever he appeared as an advocate or practitioner. We wish him a good health, long life. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I request Student Joshi to introduce today's speaker, Sujata Madam. अभी नहीं बोला है, चालू कर देते हैं, लोग जाते हैं.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to introduce CA Sujata Rangnekar Madam. There are two icon ladies the association is blessed with, Nikita Madam and Sujata Madam. They did no introduction. Well, always learn how to present the things, how to prepare for any subject from Madam. And I'll just recollect once the Patkar Sahib has said, when she was the editor of the news, our news review, she has taken the review to the greater heights. So I know for the today's lecture also, Madam will surely enlighten us on the 50th GST Council meeting. With this short introduction, I present before you, C.S. Sujata. I request our President, Advocate Premchandra sir, to present memento and the flower bouquet.
It's my pleasure. To give blessing. To give blessing to the daughter of my friend. Oh, lovely.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Should I wait for some time? Okay.
Was the inauguration of Grand Circle by President, Honorable President. Inaugural. What I'm saying that before she addressed, there has to be inauguration.
Inaugurated in the beginning. Inaugurated in the beginning. We inaugurated.
Right, to see that addressing before her address this line.
I request Jatin Cheda, Honorary Secretary, to propose a vote out of thanks.
Thank you, Vinod. Hello, everyone. It gives me profound sense of gratitude, and it's my privilege to extend a vote of thanks on these momentous occasions. I want to thank our Honorable Chief Guest, Sri S.V. Mane sir, President of MSTT, and other member of MSTT, have added significant value to our gathering. Sir, your gratitude, your insightful words have enlightened us, and your dedications and commitment to our cause are deeply appreciated. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our past president and Mr. PC Joshi sir. Despite their busy schedule, took a time to share your experience with all of us. Your words were not only inspiring, but also encouraging all of us. Thank you, sir, for encouraging us. Once again, I thank you all. Your invaluable contribution to this remarkable gathering. We are truly grateful and looking forward to your continued support to us. Thank you very much, sir.
In fact, I'm the product of this association.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Now we are start with the study circle. Next name, please. Okay.
Our newly elected president, Mr. Praveen Shinde, Honorable President of the Maharashtra Sales Tax Tribunal, all honorable members thereof. I'm very lucky that I get this opportunity to stand before them. And this is newly inducted president, Mr. Praveen Shinde. That day, the other day I had said that all Shindes are rocking nowadays. And this Shinde will also rock during this year. I'm sure about it. I also congratulate Mr. PC Joshi on this occasion. Everybody has said so many things about him. I just remember that when the baton of our seniors, Mr. R.V. Patel, Mr. P.V. Surte, J.K. Sheth, etc. were there, he used to say that amongst these seniors, I am a junior. And amongst the juniors, I am senior. But sir, now you're truly a senior. We respect you a lot for all your dedication to the practice, and we have learned quite a lot from you. Thank you so much. Coming to this subject today, this is the glimpses of the GST Council's recommendations in the 58th meeting. There are a number, when I just looked at them, I found that there were more than 50 such recommendations, and it's going to be difficult for me to compile them and say something concisely over all of them. So I've chosen a few of them, which are quite important from our day-to-day practice point of view. And then I would be, commenting on them. As Praveen Shinde ji rightly said, there was very little time for me to do a proper research on this subject. But whatever to my ability is possible, I have done, and I would like to share that with you all. 50th GST Council meeting was held on 11th of July 23. GST Council, as we know, is the supreme body so far as the GST law is concerned. And the recommendations given by the council are normally accepted by the government, and accordingly the amendments are brought in the form of subordinate legislation like notifications, circulars, etc., rules framing, etc. Now, it could be a question of debate whether the recommendations made by the GST Council are mandatory and they have to be accepted by the government as it is. We have seen some instances where the government has not accepted the recommendations of the GST Council, but nevertheless, it does have the force in such a way that the government normally heeds to those recommendations and brings about the amendments in the law Now coming to the actual recommendations. I will go very, giving a very short outlook of the recommendations made. The first one is regarding the GST rates. Now, GST rates, it has to recommend the rate. And they held that this is not papad, which is ordinarily understood by the people, and therefore it will attract the rate at 18%. Now, papad is actually in the exemption notification at serial number 96. And the customs tariff heading is 1905, main one. Papad by whatever name it is known, except when served for consumption. This is the entry for exemption. Now the entry which has been brought about, as suggested by the GST Council, it is unfried or uncooked snack pellets by whatever name called, manufactured through process of extrusion. Now this has been, because if you consider that as 18% as decided by the Advanced Ruling Authority, then that needs to be removed from the entry of papad. So that entry in schedule 3, serial number 16 is toasted bread and similar toasted products. They have added fried or uncooked, unfried or uncooked snack pellets by whatever name called, manufactured through process of extrusion. Now here they should have said other than. I think this is an error over there, which needs to be corrected, or maybe a corrigendum will come, because for the second entry, which is dealing with Linz Donawitz, that is LD slag, which is a sort of a waste product of steel industry. Now, this has been considered as liable to tax at 5% under a new entry 156A. And this has been removed from the entry 28 of this schedule 3, slag dross other than granulated slag scaling, other waste from manufacture of iron and steel, other than Linz Donawitz LD slag. So there they have been very careful to see this other than, because same commodity cannot fall in this entry as well as that entry as it is. So this has, I think there is some error over there. They might correct it. Then there are other commodities like fish soluble paste. Then we have desiccated coconut. Then trauma, spine and orthoplasty implants. These are some of the commodities which have undergone these changes. Now, as I said, how they read it or how the recommendation reads, it has been decided to regularize the matters relating to trauma, spine and arthroplasty implants for the period prior to 18/7/22 on as-is basis in view of genuine interpretational issues. Now, if I go into each commodity, what was the interpretational issue, I will that will itself take one more day. Yeah. So I've not gone into that. But what it means is there was some interpretational issue, and therefore they have sought to set it right up to a particular period. Maybe there was some judgment or whatever, and it has unsettled the understanding of the people that it falls into a particular entry. Now, when they say as is basis meaning what? If you have paid the taxes at a particular rate during that period, that should be accepted as is basis. And supposing, I have one doubt in mind, if I have filed an appeal against that particular verdict, and I'm waiting for the verdict from the higher court, then will they confirm the same rate of tax or as the new rate of tax which has been now introduced? How are they going to go? So as is basis also has certain other connotations, and that may not be palatable for all of us. So this is so far the GST taxes are concerned. Then we have FSMP. It has been decided to exempt IGST on medicines and food for special medical purposes, FSMC, used in the treatment of rare diseases, enlisted under the National Policy for Rare Diseases 2021, when imported for personal use, subject to existing conditions. Similarly, IGST exemption is also being extended to FSMP when imported by centers of excellence for rare diseases or any person or institution on recommendation of any of the listed centers. Now, these centers of excellence, there have been 8 centers of excellence across India, and they have been working on these rare diseases. The rare diseases which they might be making a research and, endeavoring for promotion of research and development for diagnosis and treatment of such rare diseases could be hemophilia, thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, etc., etc. These are the very rare diseases found in the human beings, and there appears to be a need for doing a great research in it, and also obtain or procure the medicines, because they are not required en masse. So these medicines have to be imported, and the IGST on them is sought to be exempted. whenever the centers of excellence make such a request, or even otherwise also, if certain process under this policy for rare diseases 2021 is made by the person, because it could be just very individualistic. So if an individual requires such kind of medicines, then that is also possible with the help of this.
Because in case-to-case basis, they used to give an exemption because I for a very known person, there is a drug for 14.5 crore. Spinal muscular dystrophy or something like that. So for that, the minister would actually say that no idea. You have to import it.
Okay, there may be some procedure for doing that, which I am not aware. But
earlier it used to be like a case-to-case basis, so now they have kind of just made it same.
Correct. But I feel there should be some process, to be followed in order to get that. Then we have seen that India has launched Chandrayaan-3, and India is emerging as a country which is doing its progress development in the space technology, along with the the other developed countries like USA, China, etc. So, in order to boost this particular activity, now, so far we understand that space technology or launching of rockets, yans, etc. is basically the business of ISRO. Now, there are two more organizations which have been, which can be identified with these activities: Antrix Corporation Limited and New Space India Limited, NSI. Now, for these three, there has been an exemption because they are known. But now, there could be a spurge of startups in this particular area, because India is doing a lot of progress in this particular area of space technology. And for launching a small satellite-like thing, many startups are emerging, and therefore to give a boost to such startups, they are trying to exempt this activity. And this is known as satellite launch services. This is also has been exempted. Then there have been some changes so far as GTS services are concerned. GTS, as we know, it is in the notification for reverse charge mechanism. And the GTA has been given the option either to go for forward billing or to go for the RCM. Now, if you go for RCM, there are no conditions or you don't need to fill up any forms as such. By default, you will be under RCM. And the procedure, etc., you will follow so far as the whatever is required to be mentioned on the bill, etc. But forward charge, you have to make an application, and that application was required to be made before 15th March of the preceding year, financial year. Now they have opened a window, a greater window from 1st January to 31st of March. So during this period, you can make an application for going for an option of forward billing. Annexure 3, which is supposed to be, mentioned on your bill, there are additional words over there. During the financial year, the earlier words were we have taken registration under CGST Act 2017 and have exercised the option to pay tax on services of GTA in relation to transport of goods supplied by us during the FY so-and-so under forward charge. This was the annexure. Now they have added here from FY so-and-so under forward charge and have not reverted to RCM. So unless and until you revert back, you will be in forward charge only. So every year you don't have to apply for the forward charge. This is the change they have made. And this is effective from 27/7/23, meaning 23/24 is now, it's already gone. So for the next year, you will have to follow this procedure. So far as GTA services are concerned. Then it is decided to clarify, but this circular I have not got. I think it has not been issued. Services supplied by a director of a company to the company in his private or personal capacity such as supplying services by way of renting of immovable property to the company or body corporate, are not taxable under RCM. So this always used to be a controversial issue, whether all services given by the director, just because by virtue of his being a director in a company, should be made taxable or not, or under the RCM, of course. Taxable is a different thing, under RCM. So now they have clarified those services which are in the personal capacity of a director would be excluded. We are waiting for this circular. Then it has been decided to clarify that supply of food and beverage. This is a good news for the cinema lovers. Cinema halls taxable as restaurant services, food and beverages supplied in cinema hall, provided they are supplied by way of or as part of a service, and second, supplied independently of the cinema exhibition service. Meaning the tickets for the cinema is a separate service, and the food and beverages through a restaurant situated in that cinema hall is a different thing. But if you club both of them together, then ticket and supply of food and beverages are clubbed together. Such bundled supply satisfies the test of composite supply, and the entire supply will attract GST at the rate applicable to service of exhibition of cinema, the principal supply. So that's the principle behind composite supply. So it will be 18%. Na? I mean, yeah, 18%. 18 ke 28? 18, na? So then entire thing will be 18%, whereas restaurant services, yeah.
When you have the entry to the cinema hall, it is going to be or more than that
18%. Okay. So depending upon what is, I mean, if it's a thing and you don't have a separate price for it, then again there will be a problem, like which entry applies.
that is the bundle supply. The bundle supply will be
No, rate 12 or 8. Huh.
The concept is that it is a composite supply. The principal supply thereof being the entry to the cinema hall. If the total consideration is exceeding the 150 rupees, it will be 18%.
Okay.
Because when there is composite supply, there is no earmarking of the value of the sitting there.
So the entire thing will be considered. Okay. Yeah. Then you have another thing which is attracting everybody's attention. Group of ministers on casinos, race course, and online gaming. This has been sought to be included in the taxable services. Here, see, it has a brief history as such. They have said that in the recommendations also, which are the short notes on the recommendations, a group of ministers, GOM, was constituted to look into the issues related to taxation on casinos, horse racing, online gaming. GOM submitted its first report in June 22, and it was placed before the GST Council in its 47th GST Council meeting, wherein it was decided that the GOM may relook into all the issues once again. The GOM submitted its report and it was placed before the 50th GST Council meeting. The GOM in its second report has recommended that since no consensus could be reached on whether the activities of online gaming, horse racing, and casinos should be taxed at 28% on the full face value of bets placed or on the GGR. Now, what is GGR? I don't know. The GST, sorry?
Gross gaming revenue.
Gaming revenue. Okay.
Gross gaming revenue.
Okay. So, Council may decide. The GST Council has deliberated on the issues and has recommended the following. Suitable amendments to be made to law to conclude online gaming and horse racing in Schedule 3 as taxable actionable claims. All three, namely casino, horse racing, online gaming, to be taxed at the uniform rate of 28%. So that was a mistake, I mean, to hand it over to the GST Council, because straight away it has lay with 28%. Tax will be applicable on the face value of the chips purchased in the case of casinos, on the full value of the bets placed with bookmaker, totalizer in the case of horse racing, and on the full value of the bets placed in case of online gaming. So it is the full value, 100% value. So there is a brief history so far as these, actionable claims are concerned, or we were thinking that they are actionable claims, and under the definitions of goods under BST as well as VAT, we were not considering them as liable to tax. You will recollect the case of H. Anraj, where they had split the consideration for a lottery ticket into two rights. One is the passing of the right immediately upon buying of the ticket, and the second was an actionable claim. To participate in a draw is the first right, and to succeed or win the prize would be the second actionable claim. So far as the actionable claim is concerned, there could be no sale of that actionable claim, but goods could be sold. Now this H. Anraj has been done away with by the Sunrise Corporation in 145 STC. They have said that you cannot really demarcate these two rights when you buy a lottery ticket, because they are so much combined that unless you participate, you don't have the chance of winning any prize. So these rights are all together, and therefore there is nothing like separate rights arising out of that ticket, and the entire thing becomes an actionable claim. So that was out of the purview of sales tax or VAT law at that point of time. But now if you look at the definition of goods under 2(52) and definition of service under 2(102), you will find that actionable claims are included in that definition of goods, and therefore they have the right. But in Schedule 3, they have put an entry. Schedule 3, you are aware, which are neither is supply of goods or neither the supply of services. So there they have said actionable claims other than lottery, betting, and gambling. So lottery, betting, and gambling could be brought to tax by the legislature or the parliament, as the case may be. Here they have devised a rule 31A, by which lottery ticket, not the entire consideration, but they have said 100 by 128 of the face value would become your taxable turnover, or as the price as notified in the official gazette. This is notified in rule 31A. Okay. Now I have come across one recent judgment of the Karnataka High Court on the betting. In spite of the observations made by this judgment, the GST Council has decided that they should bring in the levy of tax on the betting, etc. Horse races. Betting, I'm just reading the head note so that I don't have to read everything. Betting conducted by race clubs, actionable claims. Taxability of entire bet amount received by totalizer. Petitioner, race club conducting horse racing and facilitating betting by punters by providing totalizers services. You know what is this totalizer? I got it from the Google. A system of betting on horse races in which aggregate stake less on administration, any administration charge and tax is paid out to winners in proportion to their stake. It can also be a machine or a device that records bets in the system and works out odds and pays out winning, etc. This is known as totalizer. So these services are given by the clubs. It is a punter who places his bet through the totalizer operated by the petitioners. Petitioner distributes prize money to winning punter, setting apart an amount as commission. Rule 31A3 inserted in Central Goods and Services Tax Rule 17 by notification so and so, imposing GST on entire bet amount received into totalizer, validity of held. Race clubs provided totalizer services only, and there is no supply of goods bets. It is punter who provides bet. Bet amount held in totalizer in trust by race club on behalf of punter. Same cannot be construed as consideration in terms of section 231 of the Central Goods and Services Tax. entire amount that gets into totalizator not being prior determined face value of entire bet before beginning of race and being held by race clubs in its fiduciary capacity only for a brief period cannot be construed to be business, consideration, goods or supply as defined under the Act. In the light of the fact that activity of race club being a game of skill and not a game of chance, this aspect is also discussed over there. Rule 31A(3), I bid insofar as it declares that value of actionable claim in form of chance to win in a horse race of a race club to be 100% of the face value of bet is beyond the scope of the Act. Rule 31A(3) travels beyond what is conferred upon power of rule-making authority under section 9, which is charging section. Rule 31A(3) inserted in central goods CGST rules, inserted in Karnataka goods, I mean the GST, declared ultra vires provisions of aforesaid Act. Race clubs liable to pay GST only on the commission retained by them for holding bet amount in totalizator and not on the entire bet amount put into it. This is the judgment. In spite of that, they are treating 100% of the amount.
So the problem is when they are saying even on the chips, the entire value that you have to take. Chips are interchangeable into money. So now then what will happen? Suppose I go to a casino saying
I am really not aware of how it works.
60 for Goa, where casinos are there, and especially the offshore one, where into Mandovi River, where those casinos are there.
Yeah.
So there you can actually deal in cards and chips. Now, if I go and purchase certain chips, so say 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, so उसमें कुछ नहीं होता 2,000 rupees में, मैं purchase that, उसके ऊपर 28% करेगा. Now suppose I don't play at all, I give it back. So it is mind-boggling. This nanny state. I mean, how will this work out? I mean, I can understand if they wanted to charge on winnings, if they wanted to charge on any of that. Now, for something like 3 million,
Winnings, how can they charge under GST?
Internationally also, the amount to be taxed is only on the contribution or the total fees. Yeah, they collect. It is not.
Here they call it as commission.
And nowadays pinching in a giving. They want the revenue in the gross amount. There are lot many other components in the total fees which is being received by the gaming company. Out of 140 crores of Indian population, the gaming industry claims there are 40 crores registered players on the gaming portal. This is today's report.
Big actors have been, advertising the online gaming, so naturally.
They say you are killing the entire industry of gaming, the online gaming industry.
They will. Any good sense will prevail. I don't think that on the face value it is mind-boggling. How can it happen? Why does it happen?
But this is what the recommendation is. I mean, we cannot help it. Then appellate tribunal, appointment and conditions of service. Now they have revamped all the provisions regarding appellate tribunal, 109 till 113, 14 something. And they have introduced certain new concepts here. See, earlier there was a national bench, then regional bench, which is at the central level. And there at state level, there were state benches and area benches. Okay. Now they have confined only to the principal bench, which will be at Delhi, and the state bench. At the request of the state, the number of state benches will be decided. I think for Maharashtra, they have thinking of 7 benches, if I'm right. I don't know. I'm really not very firm about it. And they have also changed the constitution or the composition of those benches. Now, principal bench at Delhi would be comprising of president, a judicial member, a technical member center, and technical member state. That's how they will be divided. And state bench will also be having 2 judicial members and 2 technical members, center and state. Now, each state will choose, I mean, if you have 7 benches over here, then you will have to choose the senior most judicial member to act as a vice president of that bench. And he will have all the administrative rights, etc. And there is new concept, which is, because there's no point reading it all, everything. There is a new concept of this search and selection committee. Yeah. Search cum selection committee, that will be there for the national bench also and for the other benches also. The constitution of such search and selection committee has been provided by them. And now we understand, as per the recommendation, that the Chief Secretary of Maharashtra State would be taken in the search and selection committee to appoint the members, etc. All other provisions so far as appellate tribunal are concerned, I mean, it's a very big section, and we'll have to read it through to understand the functions of the tribunal, how it will be carrying on its business, etc. What kind of appeals will be placed before them, what rights and duties the president has, etc. So instead of reading everything, I request all of you to read through all the sections. Then you have annual returns for 22-23. Council has recommended relaxations for 21-22. Now this is continued for 22-23. Also, like taxpayers having aggregate annual turnover up to 2 crores need not file 9 or 9A. This is the concession they had given, and other whatever concessions they have given from filling up this 9C also, that we continue for this year also. This is what. Then we have a circular on a contentious issue, that is ISD versus cross charge. We know that each legal entity has to take registrations in every state, and the branches, corporate office being in one state, branches in the other state, they are distinct persons, and any transaction taking place between them would be liable to GST. Now, this is a very peculiar problem in GST era itself, because we had never faced this problem earlier, that whatever common expenses are incurred by the HO or corporate office on behalf of the branches, etc., they need to be distributed amongst the branches on some logical ground. Now, there have been 2 such mechanisms in order to distribute this common expenses or common inputs. And those are ISD and cross charge. Now, there is no such word as cross charge used in our GST law, but this is popularly known as a cross charge. And they have just said, because the circular uses the term that issuance of a tax invoice under section 31. This is what they say. Now, there have been, over the period of 5-6 years, we have experienced this administration of GST. And there have been number of cases where the authorities have been taking an objection to the distribution through cross charge or ISD, as the case may be. There are questions like whether ISD is mandatory or not, etc. Now, there is a circular on the point, which is circular number 199, dated 17/7/2023. Now, they have dealt with issues and clarifications. And the first issue, they have said that, see, first of all, they have segregated between the input services, because ISD is only used for services, not for the goods. Now, input services, which are provided by the third parties. This is one category. And the second category are the common expenses incurred by the HO on behalf of the all branches. So what is supposed to be the treatment in respect of these 2 items? Now, so far as the first one is concerned, we had this Cummins judgment, the advance ruling, which said that ISD is mandatory if you have input services which have been incurred by the HO on behalf of a particular branch, or maybe all branches, or maybe couple of branches. So in that case, they are supposed to be charged to that branch, or the input credit needs to be distributed to those branches through the mechanism of ISD. And for ISD, you need to take a separate registration, which is mandatory. So Cummins held that it is mandatory, but now the circular says it is not mandatory. So ISD is not mandatory. So you have an option to distribute such credit even through cross charge, that is by issuance of tax invoice. Then internally generated services also. There could be problems like what kind of expenses are you really considering? Now, there could be, say, IT, information technology services, accounting services, then security services, then administrative expenses, etc. Everything could be there. Now, the most contentious issue was regards the salary of the HO staff, which was being asked by the people that it is a salary and the staff is not that of the HO only, but it is for the entire entity, etc. And supposing over this period of 5 years, we have cross-charged, but we have not included the cost of salary into it. Then what happens? Will we have to pay that, GST on that portion of the salary? The answer is no. They have been very generous in this respect. They have said that you don't have to include the component of salary if you already not included it. This is for the precise reason that there is Rule 28 and a proviso there, a second proviso there, which says that the open market value for such transactions would be any nominal value as well, when the other party, the recipient, has a right to claim the entire ITC. So there have been many such issues like, what expenses should be considered, etc. Whether this should be excluded, this should be included, and all those things. They have said that you may take whatever you feel like, because finally, if the branch is eligible for that ITC, then you can take any value you want. But then have a consistent practice so far as this transaction is concerned. See, one caution we have to take into it. Cross-charge, normally after the end of the year, people issue those invoices. If it travels beyond September or November now, then the party recipient branch loses its ITC. And that's the point to be noted over here, that you have to issue this cross-charge invoice well in time so that your recipient branch can take the ITC in time. So this is the point you have to note. Now, so far as the time, the point of time of service is concerned, I really do not have any clarity about it, because there are companies, who have been raising such invoices, say in the month of September, direct last month, so that they only see that the recipient branch can take the ITC. But then there have been queries coming in that from the March till September, you pay the interest for, you're not paid it in time. So that kind of thing, and there is no clarity. So even in this circular, there is no such clarity that what should be the time of supply and within what time we should raise this invoice. The services which you have not, maybe consciously or otherwise, included in your cross-charge invoice, their value will be declared as nil because the other party is available, is taking the ITC. Now, in respect of internally generated services provided by HO to BO, in cases where full input credit is not available to the concerned BO for whatever reason, whether the cost of salary or employees of the HO involved in providing said services to the BO is mandatorily required to be included while computing the taxable value. Because here they'll be getting the revenue. The other party is not having any, and the second proviso doesn't apply here. There also they have said it is not mandatorily required to be included while computing the taxable value of the supply of such services. This is the kind of a concession they have given. I think this is a good move, because this is a very vexed, or it's a very gray area. Yes. Yeah.
The full input tax credit is not defined anywhere. The full input tax credit is not defined under anywhere. So what meaning would you ascribe to it? I just put up a little more so as to get a clarity on my query. Section 16, 1 read with subsection 2 provide for the eligibility of input tax credit. Section 17 provide for pro rata or proportionality.
Blocked credit.
No, blocked credit comes in 17.5. 17.1 and 17.2
okay, proportionality.
Mechanism for proportionality. So pro rata credit, where I have a case of exempt vis-a-vis taxable supplies. So my point is, when the term full input tax credit is not defined, would I be able to say that being eligible to claim full input tax credit, meaning that I am eligible for input tax credit, thereafter, if I have a recipient branch which has taxable as also exempt supplies, 17.2 would apply only when I fill up my bucket of input tax credit from which
I am with you.
So in that case,
correct.
I believe there is no need for this kind of a explanation, because as such there cannot be any situation where I am not eligible for full input tax credit. Only that situation will happen on operation of section 17.
I am also yet to visualize such cases where you are not, able to take any credit at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you are eligible. Probably you will not be able to utilize that. That's a different thing.
Yeah, that is the second
But,
issue.
but it is
I
hard to
suppose
visualize.
rewards are part of it. By operation of section 17.2, but I am eligible for full. I am forced to reverse a part of it because of my ratio of tax.
Correct.
40 to 40
Yes.
So to that extent, I cannot see anything unless I have a situation where I fail to claim it before say September or now November.
No, that's a different. 16.4 is a different thing. But I agree with you that in the first instance, when you get the credit, that is the bucket, of ITC, which I am entitled to. Out of that, I will have to apportion based on section 17. So the first eligibility criteria as per section 16 will have to be considered.
So now what is my goal criteria?
Yeah. So anyway, they have clarified it. So that's a good move on their part. Then we have another circular on warranty. See, this is also a very vexed issue. So during the warranty period, you're supposed to supply the spare parts, etc., free of cost. But in some cases, the manufacturers would give those parts to the distributor in order to be supplied to the customer during that warranty period. Sometimes what they would do, you do it out of your own stock. I'll give you a credit note. Now, there was earlier this Muhammad Akram's case, which has been now upheld in this Tata Motors, and they have said that the credit note also will be liable to tax. It will be deemed as a supply of those parts from the distributor to the manufacturer, because the prime liability to give that warranty is that of the manufacturer. Therefore, he is deemed to have, received that service or goods, I will say. Now, that was the thing. They have, although Tata Motors, they have not accepted many of the contentions made by the appellant, that when the car is purchased by the customer, normally the cost of car, any prudent businessman, that's a prudent businessman's theory, that whatever I have to incur, maybe during the warranty period, guarantee period, or whatever, I will always factor that cost into my cost of my car. Okay. And I will recover that cost from the customer. And then the free period which I'm showing is actually not free, because I've already got the price for it. So that principle they have used here while giving this circular. They have said that when the manufacturer, when he supplies the spare parts, etc., to the warranty during the warranty period, he need not pay any tax. That's okay, because there is apparently no consideration as such. But the consideration is already flown to him when he sells the car. And therefore, he need not even reverse the ITC. So both these things have been, acknowledged by them. So reversal is also not necessary, and GST on supply is also not necessary. Now, this argument was made in Tata Motors also, because there was one case of Premier Automobiles. This is Supreme Court judgment, wherein they were looking into what is the cost of, because they wanted to see the cost ingredients of a car for some different purpose. There was some ordinance, etc. So they wanted to determine what is the cost of a car. And therein they have said that warranty period, whatever cost he has to incur, he will always put that into his cost of a car. And that argument was taken in Tata Motors also, and Muhammad Ikram's also, that because of that, the consideration is already flown. So there is no question of, again, paying tax on it. But that was not accepted. Now they have come out with the circular like this. They have also considered many other situations, like required to reverse the input in respect of such replacement. No. Whether GST would be payable on replacement of part, repair services provided by distributor without any consideration from the customer as part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer. Again, they said there is no consideration being charged, no GST would be payable. Like, if additional something is being given by him for a price, then he will have to pay. That is, and goes without saying, and etc. Then whether he is supposed to reverse the ITC, that also they have said GST would be payable on entitled to avail the input tax credit of the same, subject to other conditions of CGST Act. Yes, manufacturer and the manufacturer would be entitled to avail the input tax credit. So everywhere they have come to the conclusion that there is no GST on such supply when it is given free of cost, and ITC also need not be reversed. When distributor provides a repair service, so one is part of the motor car, another is repair service. In addition to the replacement of part to the customer without any consideration, part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer, but charges the manufacturer for such repair services either by way of issue of tax invoice or debit note, whether GST would be payable. In such scenario, there is a supply of service by the distributor and the manufacturer is the recipient of such supply of repair services in accordance with the provisions of subclause A of 93 of section 2. And GST would be payable on such provision of service by the distributor to the manufacturer, because this repair service probably may not have been factored into the cost of the car. This is seems to be the logic behind it. But if you could show that even that cost of repairs also has been factored in, जैसे कि हमने वो अरविंद मिल्स का केस है, उसमें we had shown along with the cost sheet. I think this VC Joshi's case. So there we had shown the cost sheets also that all these costs have been considered. So similar endeavor can be made in case of such repair services. Companies provide extended warranty, which can be availed at the time of original supply, just before the expiry of standard warranty period. Whether GST would be payable. If a customer enters into an agreement of extended warranty with the manufacturer at the time of original supply, then the consideration, because all of you might have experienced, all of you have cars. So when you buy a car, at that point of time only they ask you, okay, you want extended warranty, pay for this and then take it, extended warranty. So consideration for such extended warranty becomes part of the value of composite supply, the principal supply being the supply of goods, and the GST would be payable accordingly. The supply of goods, what? Car. So that very high rate which is applicable on the cars will be applicable even on the extended warranty. However, in case where the consumer enters into an agreement of extended warranty at any time after the original supply, then the same is a separate contract and GST would be payable by the service provider, whether manufacturer or distributor, any third party, depending on the nature of the contract. Yes. So this is beneficial. In fact, if you do it at a later point of time, then it doesn't become a composite supply, and whatever rate applicable to the, that will be applicable. We can also refer to Premnath Motors for this concept of, the cost being included in the consideration, and the consideration already flown to the car manufacturer. These are the circulars. Then, okay, I have to wrap up in 5 minutes. So which one should I take? This is of very practical use, so I'm taking it. For new registration, they have introduced Rule 10A, which is not come as yet. And you are required to provide the details of bank account in the name and PAN of the registered person to be required to be furnished within 30 days of grant of registration or before filing statement of outsource. Because you see, there have been so many cases of fake registration, etc. So they are taking this extra care while allotting the registration to you. So valid bank account under Rule 10A, you will have to give the details. And there is a time limit also before which you have to do it. Otherwise, your registration can be held as not valid. Regarding online information and database access or retrieval services, person located outside India to non-taxable persons to India. This is section 13. Place of supply. Place of supply is recipient. He is outside India, is providing the service here. That is known as OIDAR services. And here you are supposed to fill up one form called GSTR 5A, which at present does not include the GST numbers of the persons to whom you are giving the services. There could be registered persons who are consumers. There could be unregistered persons as well. For registered persons, now it is mandatory to give the registration numbers because they have the liability to pay it on RCM, under RCM. So therefore, this form has undergone some changes. Actually, the provisions regarding this ITC, they would have been actually more important, but they are very, very big. This thing. I think I request the president, we should have some session, maybe somebody else, not me as such, but we should have some session on this.
Once the notifications come, we will have.
Yeah. So these are only on the recommendations. Some of the rules have come, but not all of them. And I feel those are very, very important. I could see some inconsistencies also while reading them. And it is better to discuss it out and with an interactive session so that we know the views of everybody there. And with this, I think I should thank all of you for a patient hearing.
Thank you, madam, for inviting us. I think more than 150 virtual attendees are there. Okay. I think most of senior persons sitting over here. That recently Andhra Pradesh High Court decided the section 64 good judgment. I need to have a lecture on this topic. On this, I appeal the members and seniors to come forward for this topic and prepare for the same. Because the High Court decided section 64 ITC time limit is constitutional validity.
That's for the friend.
Thank you, madam. I request our joint convener, Sunil Gupta, to propose hearty vote of that and make some announcement. Sorry, Sunil Doshi.
Thank you. It is that. Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure to propose hearty vote of thanks to madam. I think every circular, every meeting gives another aspect to the GST and far-reaching impacts. Madam has tried to cover the many of that in this small time allotted, and I must apologize for the shortage of time. Thank you, madam, for your guidance and putting and enlightening the members about the 50th GST meeting amendments and proposals. Thank you once again. There are two announcements. There will be a Know Your Managing Committee on the 9th August. And the NRRC is scheduled at Shirdi jointly with the Ahmednagar tax practitioners along with the AFTP on 21st and 22nd of August. I request all the members to join for that. Now we rise for the national anthem. Jana Gana Mana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkal Vanga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Ujjala Jaladi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashish Mage Gaye Tava Jaya Gatha Jana Gana Mangala Dayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He.